Did you know that one of the oldest philosophies in the world holds the key to overcoming addiction? If you want to break free from the chains of addiction, you need to do this: embrace Stoicism. Yes, you heard that right. Stoicism, an ancient Greek and Roman philosophy, can provide the strength, resilience, and mindset shifts you need to regain control over your life. The best part? You don't need to change who you are or rely on willpower alone. Stoicism teaches you how to transform your relationship with cravings, emotions, and your own mind. It shows you how to master your thoughts, accept challenges, and respond with calm rationality, no matter the temptation. But before we dive deeper, let me be clear, this isn't about denying the reality of addiction or pretending it's an easy journey. It's about learning to navigate the storm with confidence and self-awareness, just like the Stoics did. So, if you've ever felt trapped by your impulses or struggled to break free, this philosophy could change everything. Stick with me as we explore how Stoicism can be the key to your recovery and how it has already helped countless individuals overcome their toughest battles. Number 1. The role of Stoicism in overcoming addiction. Have you ever felt trapped? Maybe it's in a cycle of unhealthy habits, destructive patterns, or even in those fleeting moments when it seems like no matter what you do, you just can't break free. It's that feeling of being caught in a loop, where your mind is pushing you towards something you know isn't good for you, but you just can't stop. And as the cravings get louder, so does the shame, guilt, and frustration. You might even find yourself wondering, why can't I just get a grip? Addiction can feel isolating, overwhelming, and almost impossible to fight on your own. Yet there's a powerful ancient philosophy that's been helping people like you and me break free from these very traps: Stoicism. Stoicism, which might sound like a word from an old philosophy textbook, is actually a philosophy of power and resilience. At its core, Stoicism doesn't just teach you to deal with things or get over it. It offers a practical, empowering approach to tackling the things that pull us into patterns we can't break, whether that's substance abuse, compulsive behavior, or negative thought loops. Imagine for a second that you're not helpless, not stuck, and that even when the world around you feels out of control, you have a set of tools that allow you to stand firm, not against the world, but with yourself. That's what Stoicism gives you. The idea that while external events are often beyond your control, your response, your thoughts, and your actions are always within your grasp. Think about that for a moment. My response to this situation is what I can control. Does that shift something for you? It's a powerful tool. When you feel the overwhelming pull of an addiction or compulsion, the first thing Stoicism teaches is that you don't need to run from it or numb it out. Instead, you face it, you understand it, and most importantly, you control how you respond to it. And when you realize this, it's almost like a weight lifts off your shoulders. You stop feeling like a victim to your urges and start seeing yourself as a warrior capable of standing tall. Now, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, right. That's easier said than done. And you're absolutely right. It's not easy. But it's so much more than just a theory. It's a set of tools that has helped people for thousands of years through the worst of times. And in today's world, where distractions are endless and pressure to be perfect can overwhelm anyone, Stoicism offers a grounded, honest approach to taking back control, not just over our actions, but over our very mindset. Does it sound too good to be true? Keep listening, because we're about to explore how Stoicism can become the secret weapon you never knew you needed. Number 2. Core principles of Stoicism. Remember those times when you felt so in control, so powerful that you thought nothing could shake you? Maybe it was when you were a kid, feeling like the world was yours to conquer. You had that unshakable confidence, that belief that no matter what, You could handle anything that came your way. But somewhere along the line, life got complicated. Pressure built up, expectations grew, and suddenly it felt like you were no longer the one in control. You started seeking comfort, distraction, something to numb the pain or the stress, and maybe you found it only to realize later that it didn't make things better. That high, that temporary escape didn't solve anything. It just made the next moment, the next craving, feel even more unbearable. If you're sitting there now, nodding in recognition, you're not alone. Addiction doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't start as something you plan to struggle with. It's the slow pull of wanting to feel better, but the longer you let it go unchecked, the harder it becomes to regain control. And that's where Stoicism comes in. At its core, Stoicism is about regaining that power, getting back that control, that inner peace, that sense of confidence. It's not about shutting down emotions or pretending that life is all sunshine and rainbows. Stoicism doesn't ask you to suppress what you feel, it asks you to learn how to understand and respond to what you feel in a way that doesn't send you spiraling into unhealthy patterns. So, how does Stoicism actually work? Well, one of the most fundamental concepts is something called the dichotomy of control. It's a principle that can completely shift how you view your relationship with the world and with your addiction. In simple terms, the dichotomy of control divides life into two categories: things you can control and things you can't. Sounds simple, right? But let me ask you, how often do we waste our energy trying to control things that are beyond our reach? How often do we ruminate on situations, people or outcomes that are totally out of our hands? When we focus on things that we cannot change, it only leads to frustration and suffering. The same holds true when we try to control the uncontrollable urges of addiction. But what if, instead of fighting against the uncontrollable, you just focused on what you can control? Stoicism teaches that while external circumstances, like the cravings, the triggers, the temptations, might be out of your hands, how you react to them is entirely within your control. And this isn't just theoretical, it's a practice. By understanding that you can't always control what happens to you, but you can control your response to it, you start taking back your power. The next time you're faced with a temptation, instead of letting it consume you, you can pause and think, what do I control right now? And in that moment, you can choose to take a deep breath, step back, and respond from a place of mindfulness, rather than being swept away by the urge. Imagine having that power in your hands. Instead of constantly feeling like you're at the mercy of your cravings, you realize that every time you respond with strength and wisdom, you're building something bigger, something more resilient, something that addiction can't touch. Stoicism doesn't promise an easy road, but it does promise you a way to regain your inner fortress, no matter how turbulent the external world becomes. Number 3. The dichotomy of control in addiction recovery. You know that feeling of being stuck? That sense that no matter how much you try, you just can't escape? Maybe it's something as simple as trying to stay off social media for a day, or something deeper, like fighting the urge to drink or smoke. Whatever it is, you've probably experienced that internal battle, the back and forth, the tension between knowing what's best for you and giving in to what feels easier, more comforting in the moment. If you're honest with yourself, that pull of addiction can feel as if it's outside your control. You might find yourself asking, why can't I just stop? This is where Stoicism's principle of the dichotomy of control becomes a game changer. You see, addiction often thrives on the illusion that we have no control. It whispers that we're powerless, that no matter what we do, we're always going to feel this way, always going to crave the same fix. But Stoicism flips that script. It teaches us that yes, there are things beyond our control. You can't control the exact triggers, the the moments when you feel overwhelmed, or the emotions that drive your cravings. But you can always control how you respond to them. The dichotomy of control invites you to stop battling the feelings you can't change and start focusing on the reactions you can manage. Imagine for a second that instead of seeing the craving as an unstoppable force, you begin to view it as just another wave in the ocean. The wave may come, it may crash over you, but just because it's there doesn't mean you need to drown in it. You don't have to let it define you or control you. Instead, Stoicism empowers you to choose your response. You can acknowledge the craving, understand where it's coming from, and then decide how to act. You might even find that with practice, these waves of temptation become less frequent, less overwhelming. The more you align with the reality that you control your response, the more you're able to take your power back, one choice at a time. Now, if you're feeling skeptical, that's okay. The dichotomy of control isn't something that instantly clicks for everyone. It's a process, a shift in how you see the world and how you approach your challenges. But once it starts to make sense, once you begin to embrace the idea that your thoughts and actions are within your control, you'll start to feel that weight slowly lifting off your shoulders. The control you thought you had lost, it's still there, and Stoicism is the key that helps unlock it. Number 4, the power of acceptance in overcoming addiction. There are times in life when everything feels like a struggle, when you're fighting against the tide, and the harder you push, the more resistance you face. When it comes to addiction, this resistance often feels overwhelming. You know it's wrong, you feel the guilt, and yet you can't stop. It's easy to slip into a cycle of shame, convincing yourself that you're failing, that you're powerless. But here's the paradox. What if the key to overcoming addiction isn't about fighting so hard to change or avoid those feelings, but actually about accepting them? Acceptance might sound passive at first, like you're giving up, but in reality, it's one of the most empowering things you can do. In Stoic philosophy, acceptance is not about resignation or giving in, it's about embracing reality as it is. It's about saying, yes, I have cravings, yes, I feel these urges, these emotions, but that doesn't define me. I am not my addiction. Acceptance frees you from the constant battle against yourself. When you resist the cravings, when you try to avoid or deny them, it only strengthens their grip on you. But when you accept them without judgment or self-criticism, you loosen that grip. This principle is deeply rooted in Stoicism. It doesn't tell you to suppress your emotions or avoid discomfort, rather. It teaches you how to be at peace with the discomfort. It shows you that suffering doesn't come from the cravings or the situation itself, but from how you choose to view it. In the context of addiction, you might be fighting feelings of guilt, shame, or frustration for not being able to stop. But these emotions are just part of the human experience. Stoicism teaches that your suffering is exacerbated when you judge yourself harshly for having these emotions. It's a cycle. You feel the craving, you judge yourself for having it, and then you feel worse, which can drive you right back into the addiction. Instead, acceptance allows you to acknowledge your cravings without letting them control you. You might feel the pull, but you don't have to respond. You can simply notice the sensation, observe it, and let it pass. This shift in mindset isn't easy, but it's profoundly liberating. The moment you accept that you can't control every feeling that comes your way, you empower yourself to choose your response. It's like putting the brakes on an out-of-control car. The car may still be speeding down the hill, but you are now in the driver's seat, with the ability to steer it, slow it down, and regain control. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It means acknowledging the struggle and choosing to move forward with it, rather than against it. So, next time you feel the temptation, instead of fighting it, try to accept it. Embrace it as part of your journey and recognize that it doesn't have to dictate your actions. This is where real freedom begins. Acceptance is your first step toward lasting change. Number 5. Mindfulness and its connection to Stoic practices. Mindfulness is often discussed in the context of modern-day wellness practices, but it's deeply connected to Stoic philosophy. At its core, mindfulness is about being present, fully aware of your thoughts, emotions, and reactions, without judgment or attachment. For those struggling with addiction, mindfulness can be a transformative practice, and it aligns seamlessly with Stoic teachings. If you think about the nature of addiction, it thrives on impulsivity, the overwhelming drive to act before we even realize what's happening. The craving hits, and before we know it, we've given in, feeling powerless and out of control. But what if, instead of reacting automatically, you could step back and observe the craving without acting on it? That's where mindfulness comes in. In Stoicism, one of the central tenets is to remain rational and in control of your responses to external events. While Stoicism doesn't label emotions as good or bad, it does stress the importance of maintaining control over your actions, regardless of the emotions you're experiencing. This is where mindfulness bridges the gap. Mindfulness is the practice of creating space between stimulus and response. It gives you the ability to pause and observe your thoughts and emotions before reacting to them. Imagine a craving coming on something that has always sent you spiraling. In that moment, instead of rushing to act, mindfulness allows you to step back and observe. You don't judge yourself for having the craving, you simply notice it. You acknowledge it, allow it to exist without shame or guilt, and then watch it dissipate as all feelings do. It's the same with any intense emotion or thought. You see it come and go without being swept away by it. Mindfulness enhances the Stoic goal of remaining calm and rational in any situation. It's not about avoiding or suppressing your feelings, it's about giving yourself the space to choose how to act. It teaches you to create a buffer between what you feel and what you do. It empowers you to stay grounded in the present, rather than being hijacked by past emotions or future anxieties. For someone struggling with addiction, mindfulness is an invaluable tool. Through mindfulness, you can learn to ride the waves of your cravings and emotions rather than being drowned by them. This practice strengthens your ability to respond with reason rather than being at the mercy of your impulses. Mindfulness, coupled with Stoic principles, provides a comprehensive approach to breaking free from the grip of addiction. It's not just about stopping the behavior, it's about changing how you engage with your thoughts and emotions. And that is where true change begins. Number 6. The importance of self-talk in addiction recovery. Have you ever been caught in a cycle of negative self-talk? The kind where your inner voice constantly beats you down, telling you that you'll never change, that you're stuck in your addiction forever. It's easy to fall into this pattern, especially when you've tried to break free and relapsed, or when you feel overwhelmed by the weight of your cravings. That inner voice can become louder than any external force, and often it's the most destructive part of the addiction cycle. But here's the good news. Stoicism offers a powerful tool to reframe that inner dialogue and shift from self-doubt to self-empowerment. Seneca, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, taught that our inner voice has the power to shape our reality. What we say to ourselves shapes how we feel, how we act, and ultimately, who we become. If your inner dialogue is filled with negativity telling you that you'll never succeed, that you're hopeless, then that's what you'll believe. You'll act on those beliefs, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. But if you can change your self-talk to something more empowering, something that aligns with your goals, you can change the direction of your life. Addiction recovery often involves facing your deepest fears and doubts. It's easy to believe that you're beyond help or that you've failed too many times to ever succeed. But Stoicism teaches that you are not your thoughts. Just because you have a negative thought doesn't mean it's true. What if you could counter every self-defeating thought with something more positive? What if every time you thought I'm hopeless, you instead said, I am in control of my choices? This is where the practice of positive self-talk comes in. It's not about ignoring the challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It's about confronting your fears and weaknesses with strength. Seneca believed that by using positive affirmations, we can retrain our minds to believe in our resilience, in our capacity to change. For someone in recovery, this could look like repeating mantras like, I am stronger than my cravings, or each moment is a new chance for growth. These small shifts in your internal dialogue can slowly start to reprogram your subconscious, replacing the narrative of failure with one of empowerment. Over time, positive self-talk builds confidence. It reminds you that change is possible, that setbacks are part of the journey, and that you have the power to rise above your circumstances. By using Stoic principles and reframing your internal dialogue, you begin to silence the negative voice that keeps you stuck in addiction. Instead, you cultivate a voice of self-compassion, one that encourages you to keep going, to keep fighting, and to believe in your ability to transform. Number 7. The practice of premeditatio malorum in addiction recovery. Imagine for a moment that you're about to face a major challenge. Maybe it's the temptation to use or the anxiety of an upcoming stressful situation. In that moment, your mind could go in many different directions. But what if you had the tools to mentally prepare for that challenge before it even happens? That's where the Stoic practice of premeditatio malorum comes in. This technique involves imagining potential obstacles and adversities before they occur, so that when they do, you're not caught off guard. You're ready. In addiction recovery, there will be challenges. There will be cravings, difficult emotions, and moments when you feel like giving up. But if you practice premeditatio malorum, you can prepare yourself mentally to face these challenges with a calm and rational mindset. Instead of being blindsided by cravings or triggers, you'll have already envisioned these moments, thought through your responses, and decided how to stay on course. This mental rehearsal is incredibly powerful because it allows you to be proactive rather than reactive. The idea behind premeditatio malorum is simple but profound. By anticipating difficulties, you take away their power. When you're mentally prepared for adversity, it no longer feels as overwhelming when it arrives. You see it for what it is, a passing moment, a challenge to be faced with resilience. This practice has a direct application to addiction recovery. Imagine that you're walking into a situation where you know there will be temptation. Maybe you're going to a party, or you're stressed about work, and you feel the old urges starting to stir. Instead of being blindsided by the craving, you've already visualized it. You've imagined what you'll do in that moment, how you'll pause, breathe, and remind yourself of your commitment to recovery. This foresight empowers you to act with clarity, rather than getting swept up in the emotional storm. Premeditatio malorum also reduces fear. It helps you see challenges as opportunities to practice virtue. When you expect difficulties, you stop fearing them, and as you face each challenge, your confidence in your ability to handle adversity grows. Number 8. The example of Cato the Younger and Stoicism in action. If you're looking for a real-world example of someone who applied Stoic principles to overcome personal challenges and addiction, you don't have to look further than Cato the Younger, a Roman statesman and philosopher. Cato's life is a powerful testament to the resilience and transformative power of Stoicism. Cato was known for his strict adherence to Stoic values, particularly his commitment to virtue, self-control, and moderation. He was someone who sought to live in alignment with nature and rationality, and he made a conscious choice to abstain from the indulgences that many of his contemporaries embraced. While it might seem like he lived a life of extreme discipline, his example is incredibly relevant for anyone in recovery today. Cato's story is not just about resisting temptation, it's about transforming the very way you view life's challenges. Cato had access to wealth and luxury, yet he rejected the excesses of Roman society. He understood that true freedom wasn't in indulgence, but in self-control. In many ways, Cato's life was a blueprint for how to live with strength and purpose, even in the face of temptation. For someone struggling with addiction, Cato's story serves as a reminder that transformation is possible, no matter how ingrained the behavior may seem. By following Stoic principles, you can begin to shift your mindset, strengthen your self-discipline, and cultivate the inner strength needed to break free from addiction. Cato's example shows that change isn't just possible, it's within your reach. Incorporating Stoicism into your life, just as Cato did, means accepting responsibility for your actions, practicing resilience in the face of temptation, and choosing a life of virtue over immediate gratification. If Cato could reject the excesses of his time, you too can reject the patterns that hold you back and begin a new journey towards freedom. If you've made it this far, drop 100 in the comments. This shows that you're part of the 0.01% who are truly committed to finishing what they start and making lasting change in their lives. Stoicism is not just a philosophy, it's a practical toolkit that can help you overcome the deepest challenges, including addiction. By embracing its principles, you can take control of your thoughts, behaviors, and emotions, breaking free from the cycle of cravings and moving toward a life of resilience and inner peace. If you're serious about transforming your life and committing to a path of growth, don't wait any longer. Make sure to join our community by subscribing to the channel. By doing so, you'll gain access to more powerful insights and strategies that will help you navigate life's toughest challenges. Remember, the journey starts with a single step, and by taking that step today, you're already moving closer to the person you're meant to become.